Hey everyone, we're back with another tactics video today, and I wanted to talk about magic missiles, particularly in the endgame. In a recent video, I talked about Ruby Ring, and I think I might have called it broken. I don't know if it's necessarily broken. However, what the point that I was trying to make is that the magic missile in itself is one of the best ways you can get an advantage as a player in Warhammer the Old World due to just reducing the amount of dice that you need to roll. So in many ways, magic missiles are pretty cheap, Ruby Ring included, in the sense that it's just fireball starting with +2 to gain or get the spell off. So you sort of need to roll a 6, which I think is about a 72, 73% chance. So you're going to do it more often than not. And then I suppose you could say that it's going to get dispelled. However, the point I'm going to make in this video is that mostly it's the end game that where the magic missiles become incredible. While magic missiles, by not needing to hit and just rolling 2d6 or d6 plus something to hit, and of generally pretty high strength 4 or even strength 5 in the sense of wind blast, what you're seeing is that just by circumventing that sort of 4 plus or 3 plus to hit, even from a good sort of ranged attack, that you're just going to do more damage in general more often than not. Where I think that magic missiles are particularly powerful in the endgame is that once the board spreads out and units have sort of, I suppose, flung to the corners of the board and people are trying to conserve points, at that point, dispelling the magic missile is very difficult. So while that example of Ruby Ring, Abound 2, with level 4s everywhere, often it's not going to go off early in the game. However, what you'll see, and in these images, I'm going to try to provide some examples, is that as the game progresses, it becomes easier not only to resolve the magic missile, but you're picking off targets that are just picking up points in a game that sometimes points can be hard to come by for. So on the image on the left, I have my shaman, my beast, my great Bray shaman, who after miraculously fleeing from a charge has rallied and then moved behind this tower forever to be, or safe forever, and has then started to pick off units with its 360 range of sight and Vile Tide. So where the template is closest to us in the image was a Great Eagle, and it might seem like a bit of a waste to throw a Vile Tide at a Great Eagle, but at the time it was the only target that I could see, and it was a pretty easy way to pick up 60 points. Later in the game, I did it to another Eagle. This time, the Great Grey Shaman, who was equipped with a flying carpet, was then able to fly over to the edge of the board and threaten other units. And in this game, I was particularly unlucky. I had my attempt at a 5 Wild Rider unit perfectly whatever the double 6 dispel is for a perfect dispel, and then failed to get it off at the end of the game to finish off a unit of Treekin. On the right, my brother Paddy, his Warhawk is using Wind Blast, and I have 3 models left in a tower. Towers are incredible in that they provide hard cover. They can only be attacked by infantry or flyers, and if he doesn't destroy this unit, I'm going to score 200 battle points at the end of the game. Wind Blast, however, D3 plus 3, strength 5, minus 1 AP hits, takes care of those Gors who are in the tower pretty easily with its low casting cost, and he's able to not only score the points for the unit, but save the points that I would have won for the tower. I find that this happens regularly with magic missiles, and at the end of the game, you have that sort of fireball, pillar of fire, level 2 or 3 that runs around the outside and is able to pick off these units. So it might be like a 200 to 300 point investment. If you're lucky enough, Dark Elves put it on a Pegasus, but a Steed tends to have the mobility and the 360-degree range to be able to see anything and then shoot fireballs at it. In a game where when a unit on this surface, 25%, or you have to have killed more than 25% of the unit to get 25% of the points, you see a lot of players get maybe a 1 or 2 part 2 members of a 5-person unit to sort of hide behind a hill and conserve their points. That magic missile attack can be one way of finishing off the game and gaining. I've seen people gain 200 or 300 points in the last couple of turns. Also, firing into things like forests, you'll find that magic missiles are not going to have to worry about hitting. You only have to see one model to be able to target them, and then you can take out any number of models in the unit. Unlike shooting, where you might need to deal with cover or you're dealing with templates or other things from war machines. So overall, I think understanding how magic missiles are powerful, and that Ruby Ring particularly, which is available to every army, can be used to just mop up points more than anything else, is something that if you're playing this game to win or you're playing to score the most points, you're going to find that it can be an invaluable, and if one of the critical parts of list building in this format. So thanks again for watching. I hope you learned something. We'll see you next time.